Hello everybody, Scott Golden with the NXT review for the 11th of May, 2021. Actually one of the better shows they've had in a while. Not necessarily something I'd write home about, but at the same time, there's good things here. There's also some goofy stuff, but overall I think there was more good than not good here in this. The placement of some matches doesn't make sense to me. Feels like they tried to fit too much into a 2-hour program in some spots, but overall it was a better than what's been presented NXT in the last little while. Anyway, we open with Karrion Kross with Scarlett defeating Austin Theory with Johnny Gargano in a non-title match. Not a fan of putting this in this position. Why is the biggest champion on the brand in the first match of the show? Doesn't make sense. Kross winning via referee stoppage after annihilating Theory. Theory's wasted on this brand, but obviously they don't care because they think he's young enough that they've got years to rehab him or something. Anyway, Finn Balor confronts Kross after the match. Gargano interferes during match. Kross dominates from the start and controls the pace of the contest pretty regularly. Kross slowly pummels Theory until Gargano causes distraction. Jumping up on the apron, Theory then rakes Kross's eyes and blinds him. Theory catapults and begins to target Kross. Theory delivers fallaway slam to Kross, which honestly, with the size difference, doesn't really make sense. Kross ends up coming back and hits two salto suplexes and his Doomsday forearm. Theory's out when Kross locks in a choke. Ref stoppage. I like the ref stoppage, but they could have done it with somebody that they couldn't rehab into something more meaningful. Title bout is announced for next week. Bronson Reed challenging Johnny Gargano for the North American title. Not sure why this is put here. Anyway, teaser for Kross's next title defense. After the match, Finn Balor approaches and comes up behind Kross. They go face to face. Balor said he doesn't wait in the line. He wants a title shot. Kross said that he wanted the match much like Balor does, and they're headed to a return match, probably to put Kross over even stronger than they did before. Leon Ruff and William Regal get into a heated argument in Regal's office. Ruff wanted to compete tonight. Regal wouldn't clear him to wrestle. Ruff yells at Regal and Regal yells back. Completely unnecessary time filler segment. NXT Tag Team Champions MSK, Wesley, and Nash Carter defeat Breezango. Carter pins Breeze in a babyface match. I don't necessarily like babyface matches. Decent stuff enough. Just before the commercial, they involved the referee doing a drop down a leapfrog. Haha. Comedy in this way in a championship match I'm not a fan of. I don't mind comedy in wrestling. I think it has a place on every show, but it should be in an undercard position. Lee's doing flip-flops and flies all over when the show returns. Fandango cuts him off. Fandango uses Falcon Arrow for a near fall. Carter jumps up to break up the pin. MSK hits a series of double teams and gets a near fall on Breeze. Fandango hits a spear, breaks up the pin. Brawl erupts, and then the champs get rocked with super kicks. Carter goes on to springboard out of the ring and a moonsault to the outside. Champs execute heart attack blockbuster double finish. Carter covers Breeze, easy for me to say, pinfall. Breezango shakes hands with them, and everybody's friends again, I guess. Gargano does comedy skit where he barges into Regal's office. Bit ends with Gargano breaking Regal's pencil. This is complete goofiness. Todd Pettengill returns to host what apparently seems to be the return of In Your House, June 13th. On Peacock. I guess that's going to be a yearly thing. I wouldn't even mind if they did it a few times a year. Pettengill's kind of fun. It's a fun little throwback. Anyway, Leon Ruff attacks Pete Dunne. Dunne cuts promo. Calls out Karrion Kross for ducking him. Dunne vows to become champion and issues an open challenge for anybody to prove him wrong. Ruff comes out of nowhere, storms in. Barrett on commentary notes that Ruff isn't medically cleared. Apparently, the announcer said that Regal can't stop him from entering an open challenge. So apparently, Regal is useless. Anyway, Pete Dunne defeats Leon Ruff in a quick little mini squash here. Ruff was overpushed to begin with, and the overpushing continues. Dunne wins with a second referee stoppage on the show, which is finish overkill. Anyway, so Ruff fires up for a comeback after being dominated during the early stages. Ruff hits a Rana, Dunne shuts down, and they go back to the joint manipulation deal. Ruff fires up again. He hits a missile dropkick, goes flying again. Dunne cuts him off, and then Dunne hits triangle and rain down a series of elbows on him until the ref stop. Dunne is going to do the finger snapping thing to finish things. Anyway, Legado del Fantasma cuts a promo on Kushida, and they agree on a Cruiserweight title match. Kushida defends Cruiserweight title against Santos Escobar in what ends up being, I believe, the main event, or semi-main event. Anyway, world premiere of Frankie Monet in 2 weeks on NXT. Announcers plug this. However, Monet was in the Women's Classic several years ago. Presley the Pomeranian will also be here. Raquel Gonzalez with Dakota Kai defeat Mercedes Martinez in the NXT Women's Championship match. I believe this was a championship match. Yeah, it was. So, definitely hard-hitting match. Brawl to begin the match. Fight spills to the outside. Brawling continues around. Show goes to picture-in-picture. Martinez hits Gonzalez and has her trapped in the ropes. Martinez hits a draping and twisting neckbreaker on Gonzalez. Martinez hits a spear on the apron. Ouch and unnecessary. Champion is going nuts, but kicks out at 2. Trade of strikes. Powerbomb into a hot shot that cut Martinez off. Martinez kicks out of that at 2. They trade a bunch more strikes and some near falls. Martinez counters Gonzalez. Gonzalez goes for a finisher. Martinez delivers a running knee strike for her trouble, and then a suplex for another near fall. Gonzalez fires up with a boot to the face. Gonzalez then hits a signature powerbomb on Martinez, and Gonzalez goes for the cover. Martinez hits 3 count, and Gargano and Austin Theory apparently are attacking Bronson Reed backstage, and the Way is ordered to leave the building. Isaiah Swerve Scott, easy for me to say, arrives. He has AJ Francis and Ashanti the Adonis, and B-Fab, name of the crew, is the Hit Row. Too many factions on All Wrestling. Back when the Horsemen did it, it was different because it was new and there was one. Now it's just goofy and overdone. Anyway, they all seem to have musical backgrounds. Francis freestyles as part of his promo. Decent enough intro if you like having too many factions. Cameron Grimes arrives at the auction house, or auction for a house actually. Grimes wondered why the auctioneer talked so fast, which is funny. Grimes is outbid by Ted DiBiase, and he's upset. He rants and raves about DiBiase being a horrible person. Grimes calls out DiBiase, and DiBiase tells him that everyone has a price for $1 million man. Anyway, Zoe Stark and Tori Storm cut promos on each other in vignette style. They will fight next week in a rematch of the match that's already happened. Semi-main event, probably best match on the show. Kyle O'Reilly defeats Oney Lorcan with Pete Dunne. O'Reilly pins Lorcan in a match that was too short, but was cool while it lasted. Set up an angle earlier in the day. They fight in the parking lot. Bobby Fish returns finally. Really good grappling in the early moments. Grappling gives way to strikes. Does it ringside, distracts O'Reilly, allows Lorcan to hit O'Reilly with a sneak attack. Show goes to commercial. O'Reilly makes a comeback after the break and drops Lorcan with a brainbuster. O'Reilly finished the match with Bobby Eaton's flying knee drop, which is good to see return. O'Reilly covers Lorcan for the pinfall. Bobby Fish returns to NXT while making a save. Post-match, Lorcan and Dunn attack O'Reilly after the bell. Fish runs out, evens the odds. Tag partners reunite to clean house one more time. O'Reilly tells Fish it's good to see him back, but O'Reilly also tells him that he's doing his own thing these days. Fish said he understood, and that Fish went on to say that he has his own scores to settle. Fish says he will see him when he sees him, and they leave on pretty good terms. Video package showing the way as superheroes. Serious promo from Bronson Reed. Reed announces that he will challenge Gargano next week for the North American title in a cage match. Cage match with no build. Awesome, that makes sense. NXT Cruiserweight Champion Kushida defeats Santos Escobar in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Retain the title in your main event. Not a bad match, but at the same time, why is this 2 out of 3 falls? Also, why does a championship match get less than 2 hours of build? Anyway, Kushida wins after winning 2 straight falls. He drops the first fall, comes back to win 2 in a row. Brawling at ringside to start the match between two guys who should be more technically inclined. Legado de Fantasma tries to interfere. MSK runs down and cuts them off so that they can't interfere. Referee ejects everybody. Kushida leaps from the top turnbuckle into a flip dive on Escobar. Escobar's in control when the show returns from the break. Kushida wipes out and does another dive. Escobar tags Kushida in the back with a few shots and transfers into a single leg crab. Kushida fights back and Escobar continues to work him over. Avalanche into a sunset flip for Kushida for 2 count. They lead into Kushida making a comeback. Handspring elbow, cartwheel dropkick, and Escobar cuts him off. Escobar executes Phantom Driver and then covers Kushida to win the first fall. Second fall when we come back, and only lasts a few seconds. Kushida locks in the cross arm breaker. Escobar taps out, ending the second fall. Falls are even. Show goes to picture-in-picture break to start the third fall. This is just goofy. Fighting spills outside the ring. Show returns from the break. Kushida keeps targeting an arm, but Escobar snaps Kushida on the top rope. Escobar follows with a suicida through the ropes. Kushida fights back, hits flying knee on Escobar, targets the injured arm from earlier. Kushida drops Escobar with a shoulder breaker on the floor. Back in the ring, Escobar counters an attempt at an armbar using small package for 2 count, and they trade near falls up until a double down. They get up and end up fighting on the top turnbuckle. Kushida flips into a Spanish fly and a hoverboard lock. Escobar is able to reach the bottom rope, breaks the hold. Kushida suplexes Escobar into the turnbuckles, which was needless risk, and Kushida goes for a suplex, and Kushida then traps both of Escobar's arms behind him. Kushida then bridges into a cover for a 3 count and retains the championship to close the show. Overall, better NXT than has been existing for the last little while, but we will continue with more WCW Saturday Night Review, and we've got almost 1,300 other wrestling reviews and interviews, so check it out and subscribe.